Extraction was directed by Sam Hargrave and stars Chris Hemsworth as a mercenary named Tyler Rake, who is on a mission to find this kid who was kidnapped by a rival gang of sorts, and they're holding him for ransom. And when he manages to get the kid out, pretty early on in the movie actually, he has a hard time trying to get him out of Dhaka because everybody is after him and the kid for reasons that don't seem pretty clear until a little bit later. This is a film that's new. It's a new movie. It's been a while since those happened, so it feels nice. Feels nice to talk about a new film right now. Trolls World Tour was the last one. This one is a big budget Hollywood film sort of thing for Netflix, which is already pretty interesting. Six Underground was the last one that came out in this very high octane action genre, which was alright. Wasn't exactly the best film. This is a better movie, thankfully. This is actually a pretty fun, entertaining movie. It's not a perfect film, but there's a lot of redeeming qualities in it. For one, the action is pretty well filmed. This is Sam Hargrave's very first movie. He used to be a stunt coordinator for a lot of Marvel stuff, and I would say he's done a pretty decent job here. There's some very slick direction, a couple of really great action sequences, magnificently directed, spectacular stunt work from everybody involved. There are some scenes which are so wonderfully executed that you gotta give praise to the stunt team. They've gone all out with some of the sequences. There's a really great one-shot scene which lasts about 10 to 11 minutes. Magnificent execution of that. That was actually a pretty cool scene. In fact, that might be one of the more anchoring aspects of the film for a lot of people because it's been advertised a lot, that one shot. And they definitely delivered on that. It's a wonderfully done sequence. Chris Hemsworth in the film is pretty good. He's really got a lot of physicality to the role, which is important because there's a lot of physicality required for this movie. Like 90% of this film is one big action sequence. There's like 10% in the movie right around in the middle where the film stops for like 10 minutes. And you basically just have a moment where the characters just talk. That's it. Aside from that, this film is constantly moving, which is another thing I liked about the film. It has a very brisk pace. It doesn't really lose you at any point. It constantly keeps you entertained. So if you're looking for something very entertaining and something that'll keep you on the edge the whole time, this film is definitely going to be a winner for you. It's got some really good cinematography, some really great action, and a few other really good supporting performances as well, particularly from Randeep Hooda, who was pretty good. He doesn't have much in terms of a character. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but he had some physicality to bring to the role as well, and he did a good job with it. Speaking of characters, this is where the film really suffers. This one was written by Joe Russo, who, as you may know, is the brother of Anthony Russo, and the two of them directed Avengers, Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War, Winter Soldier. They're pretty high-profile directors, and their production company, Agbo, is the one that produced this. They recently also produced 21 Bridges, which is a film that I saw, but I did not review at the time because some other stuff was going on. That movie was fine. It was not great. It sort of lost its way coming towards the final act, but it was a pretty entertaining film up till then. Similarly, this film is very entertaining, but it stays that course the whole way. But unfortunately, they don't add a lot of depth to the characters in this film. There's not much you get to know about Tyler Rake by the end of it. There's not much you get to know about the kid by the end of it. And you don't get a clear sense of what exactly is the reason behind all of this happening. It's very easy to assume that it's all part of a gang war, that the kid has been taken for that reason. And I guess that's one way to go about it, but I would have liked a little more depth. They also hint a lot of times at the fact that Tyler had a family, and you never really get much of that except for some flashes that he has in his head of his kid on a beach. That's not quite enough, especially when you're trying to make a character very compelling so that when things start to happen and if he's in trouble, you want to care for him. Granted, Chris Hemsworth is charismatic and he's very likable, so it's not too hard to sort of get behind that wheel, as it were, because coming towards the end of the film when things start to really go to hell and he's in trouble, you do care. You do want him to get out of the situation along with this kid. But I just wish that there was a little more given to it. I wish there was a little more depth to it. There's also some really strange moments which came out of left field. For example, there's a David Harbour cameo in this, out of nowhere, which was surprising to me. Like, when he showed up, I was like, wait, that David? Is that David Harbour? What's going on here? He just came out of nowhere in this movie. Not really sure what that was about, but he has a scene, and it doesn't really add much to the film. Yeah, so the story could have used a little more strengthening for sure. It could have used maybe a better narrative base, but is this the kind of film you'd want that for? I feel like I say this sentence a lot in some reviews. It's like, do you need it? If you're looking for a fun, entertaining movie just on its own merits, then I guess Extraction's got you covered. It's a really pretty looking movie, some really great cinematography. See this in 4K? It looks gorgeous in that format, by the way. It's pretty neatly acted. There's some nice action. That one shot is truly terrific. And the stunt work is magnificent. And for a directorial debut for a film like this, I'd say it's actually a pretty good job. It's not a perfect movie by any means. It's not something that will win major awards, come Academy's, voting day. But at the same time, there's not much I can complain about because if the goal of the film was to have fun, then I guess mission accomplished. I'm gonna give Extraction a 7 out of 10. A perfectly enjoyable film. Definitely check it out. It's on Netflix. It's nice if you're going through, crazy quarantine and want something entertaining to watch. It's enough to get you through that. And yeah, check that out. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Look forward to more reviews very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the movies.